Hello. Technically, this is, I suppose, a sort of a gut reaction review because I've only just watched Painkiller, one of two drama series I'm going to be talking about shortly. Yesterday, in fact. But before I get into that, and this is an impromptu stream, as most of my gut reactions are. I see something, I want to talk about it, I jump online, and I get on with it. I don't have an edit suite. Well, not one that I can afford. So I haven't got time to edit cool videos. So I'll just come on and I'll tell you my honest opinion and whether I think it's worth your time watching either of these shows. But before I do that, I just want to give a couple of shout outs. One to Ella, you're amazing. And secondly, to Steve George. I want to get this name right. Actually, let me just get this name right. Steve George Cleater, who's an ex-serving member of our forces, served in Afghanistan. At the moment, I am currently trying to put together the final cover for the latest Paratrooper script. For those people that don't know, Paratrooper is a European sort of version of, I guess, a kind of a European type version of Band of Brothers. It's a true story drama series about European forces in World War II. And I have been trying to make this show for the last 6 years. I've been trying to complete the pilot, which I've already shot some footage for. Just going to show you the cover now. This is the cover for the screenplay of the pilot. I've already published 2 of the other episodes. They're available now on Amazon. This is them here. And these 2 episodes are episodes 7 and 8. I'm going for kind of a similar cover with every episode. So there's always going to be 2 guys on the front and some kind of image in the background. Now, when I did a post on the Paratrooper Facebook page with the team, it was interesting that there was a massive kickoff because I had a black paratrooper in World War II attire on the cover, and this caused comments which I've addressed in another video. You can see it on the channel. Quite a few of the comments were very racist. So one of the reasons I'm shouting out to Steve George Cleater, and he was not the only person to contact me. There were several actually, but I've just literally stopped talking to him. There were several members of the armed forces that sort of messaged me privately to voice their disgust at the some of the posts that people put, ill-informed, because of course we did have several black paratroopers in the British Army. We had 3 in the 7th Parachute Regiment alone. Sidney Cornell was one of those. Now, the fact that my pilot is about him and Michael McGee, who's portrayed on the right by actor Alex Reese, is neither here nor there. And when I found out about Cornell's story whilst working on another project, it was just an obvious segue for a TV show. So I thought, well, if I want to get my show made, then the opening episode should really be about one of the most unique stories that I think people will be interested in today. And that's a story about a black paratrooper serving in World War II who dropped into Normandy on D-Day. I think that is a very interesting story, and that's why I wanted to tell it. Now, look, I'm getting off topic a bit here. You can watch that other stream where I talk about that in more detail with Chris Cornell, Sydney's great nephew. It's up on the channel. I think it's on the playlists under special broadcasts because it doesn't fit into any other category. But I think we'll be doing more episodes about the Paratrooper series as I release the other scripts, because I'm going to release 2 more books with 2 episodes in each later this year, so you can read the scripts for yourself. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about Painkiller and Dopesick, 2 television drama miniseries, I guess it would be fair to call them, that both take on the same topic. I want to thank Oliver Hollingdale for making me this little poster that covers both the shows. Now, these shows cover in depth the cause, the fallout, and the legal ramifications of what's commonly known as the opioid crisis. For anyone who's not familiar with it, back in the early 90s, the Sackler family, or some of the members of the Sackler family, not all of them, had a company called Purdue Pharma. Purdue Pharma predominantly manufactured a pain drug called Oxycontin. Now, Oxycontin is basically as powerful and addictive as heroin. It's an opioid, so it has very similar effects. It's very, very, very addictive. You can suffer from withdrawal symptoms. You can suffer from mental health issues, anxiety, depression. And people also found that it was a very quick way to get high because it had a very similar narcotic vibe to heroin. So people were getting prescriptions for what was commonly called Oxy as a pain medication, which was legalized after a lot of toing and froing and bending of the rules by the various people that worked for Purdue Pharma and Sackler family, and pushed on an unsuspecting American public as an incredible form of pain relief. The doctors that were prescribing it were heavily pushed to do so by aggressive and, dare I say, well, certainly morally bankrupt, you would say legal now, sales tactics by a young, attractive, persuasive sales team who used all kinds of tactics to get doctors to sell Oxy to their patients and prescribe it as the number one drug in pain relief. And of course, it was all about relieving pain. But what this drug did was it caused pain to not only the American public, but people all over the world on an absolutely devastating level. Thousands of people died from overdoses. Many more lost their jobs, alienated their family, became addicts, lost their businesses, lost their homes. It's probably one of the greatest crimes perpetrated on the American public. And now we've had a couple of documentaries about it. One of those is called, I think, The Crime of the Century. You should check that out. It's on HBO. But we have two drama series about it that are markedly different, actually, I have to say. One of those is called Dopesick, which was released just over a year ago. And I had been championing Dopesick on my channel. Any chance I got to mention it, I did. I was saying this is a fantastic show. It was incredibly well written, very well acted. I did not know about the opioid crisis. I did know about Oxy because Oxy kept being mentioned as a narcotic drug that was highly sought after on the TV show The Shield, which I'm a big fan of. But I didn't really understand what it was. I never really heard of it before, and certainly wasn't moving in circles with it over here. So it wasn't really until I saw the TV show Dopesick that I understood the full perspective of the narrative of both the history of this drug, the family who profited from it, the people who pushed it through, the corruption that was involved at every level, and how it went on to devastate, and I do mean devastate, thousands upon thousands of families. In many cases, people lost their lives. Now, so you've got two drama series that cover this same topic. I'm going to talk about Dopesick first, which came out first. My personal rating for Dopesick as a drama series is on IMDb I'll tell you now, is I give it 10 out of 10. And I do not give 10 out of 10 very easily to anything. So Dopesick for me is a 10 out of 10. So let's talk about why. So Dopesick's a Hulu original. It's got a fantastic cast that includes the likes of Michael Keaton, Rosario Dawson, Peter Skarsgård, Michael Stuhlbarg, John Hugenaker, Will Poulter, Caitlin Dever. I've met Will Poulter, really lovely man. I knew when I met him at the Wild Bill premiere that this lad was going to go really far, and I'm so glad to see him taking on American roles now with ease. He's done several. Dopesick's the latest. I would say Dopesick is probably his best performance to date of his career. His character has a wonderful arc, and we'll get into that in a second. Dopesick is an ensemble piece. It's a multiple narrative covering the entire story of the opioid crisis from start to finish, from the very beginnings of it being prescribed, seeing the people who were in charge of dishing it out, covering down to the patients that were taking it, the effect that it had on them, the effect that it had on their families, the impact that it had on the doctors, the tactics of the aggressive sales teams, the federal agents and the legal people who then went after the family responsible, and also the corporation responsible, Purdue Pharma. And you get the whole story with Dopesick on all of those levels. Just want to say hi to David Macy. One of the drugs found in Heath Ledger was oxycodone along with hydrocodone and diazepam. Yeah. And I mean, those are powerful painkillers, man. And good to see you, Corey. Thanks for popping in. And yeah, Heath Ledger's death was a tragedy. But there were thousands of them. You've got a phenomenal cast in this show, and the acting from everybody is first rate. This is one of the best performances of Michael Keaton's career. This is one of the best performances of Rosario Dawson's career. This is one of the best performances of Peter Sarsgaard's career, and it is the best performance by a mile of Will Poulter's career, by a mile. I really, really, really rate him. Caitlin Dever, I wasn't particularly familiar with. She's second from the left on this poster before I saw Dopesick, but I have seen her in other things. She's fantastic in this show. Really good. But I think props has to go to Michael Stuhlbarg, because no one plays the Sackler, the head of the Sackler family, the guy who perpetrated it all, quite as hideously as this man. And Michael is a phenomenal actor. Every time I see him, I see his name on something, I know at the very least his scenes are going to be good, even if the rest of it's pants. And he's made pretty good choices with everything he's done so far. So usually I know I'm in for a good show if he's on board. So going through, I'll just talk a bit more about the characters and the story and what you can expect. Now, it's an 8-episode show, Dopesick. So you're talking 8 episodes of your time. I think each episode's about an hour. It's as I said, it follows multiple storylines. You've got a lot to take on board, but it's delivered in a very precise manner. There's not jumping about with the timelines, which is good. It's told in a linear, traditional fashion. You're going to see a lot of other actors that you recognize from other shows. There's also a lot of actors in this who I've not seen before in major roles, who I'd perhaps like to give a shout out to. So let's get to that. But you're really gonna you're really gonna see the actors who are in the leading roles. Everybody in this show is at the top of their game. Top of their game. I've never seen an ensemble cast where everybody is firing simultaneously at the same level on their cylinders as Dopesick. Really first class piece of drama. It's written by, I want to say his name's Cannon, but let me just check that because I don't want to get that wrong. Because it's based on a book. Sorry, Danny Strong. I was thinking of Danny Cannon. That's why I said Cannon. So it's created and written by Danny Strong. Danny Strong, whose IMDb page shows him with an Emmy in each hand, rightfully deserved, I'm going to say, is someone who started off as an actor, then went into writing. He created the TV show Empire, which I did watch several episodes of. He also did the screenplay for Hunger Games, Mockingjay, Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 2. And he did some short films before that, The Rooster. He did a couple of TV movies. He's also done something called Proven Innocent. He's working on an Empire spin-off. But I have to say that of all those credits, I would say Dopesick is by far the strongest. Now, he plays the character of Todd Krakow in Billions as an actor. So if you're a fan of Billions, you know the person who is behind Dopesick. Now, I would not have put that on him, I have to say. But that's the guy who created Dopesick. So we'll get on to the cast. So really, Danny. I mean, look, as a filmmaker myself, I know that any show requires a huge team, but I'm sure Danny Strong was instrumental in getting this thing off the ground. So let's get back to the show. So this is Michael Schulberg. There's Will Poulter. Will Poulter plays one of the sales team of Purdue Pharma. He kind of has a moral dilemma in the show, and it's great to see this young lad that I met once at what was the Warner West End Cinema. I think it's View now. At the Wild Bill premiere, where we had a brief conversation about our dads, and to see him grow into this actor of this level of confidence and skill. He's quite fantastic in this. Absolutely first class performance. Maya Winningham is an actress I've followed for many moons. Behind her, I think that's David McKinnon, who some people will know from Breaking Bad. I think that's his name, but I might be wrong on that. Forgive me if I'm wrong. That's Caitlin Dever, I believe. And the previous actors play her parents. Now, this is Peter Sarsgaard, who plays one of the legal professionals who's going to try and take down Purdue Pharma. Michael Keaton, in the performance of his career, plays a very well-meaning doctor who at first prescribes the Oxycontin drug, becomes a advocate of it in pain relief, is kind of a bit duped into that opinion, then is involved in a car accident and is prescribed the painkiller by his own doctor, and then subsequently becomes an addict. There's a scene with Michael Keaton and Will Poulter in a kind of, I guess it's a, what would you call it? Like a place where addicts go for breaks and try and get away from it all. And that conversation does not go the way that you think it's going to go. And it really hit me in the gut, that scene. Now, when you watch as much drama as I do, you're not easily impressed by new shows. But I am a fan of true story dramas. Good to see you, Brogu. Thanks for popping in. And in particular anything that takes on what I consider to be a moral social issue. And Dopesick does that in spades. Now, this is currently on the Disney Channel. I don't know if they funded it via Hulu. If they did, it's something they got right, which is good because they've not had a lot of hits. Now, Dopesick kind of came and went, and I didn't see a lot of people talking about it. So in the light of Painkiller, which has just dropped on Netflix, which some of you may have seen, I really feel that I want to give this show its due and shout out. And I do hope some of my subscribers will come and tune into this and listen to what I got to say about this show. And if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. Watch 2 episodes of it, and I dare you not to watch the rest. I assume that's Michael Keaton at an event for the show. That's certainly a very flowery shirt he's got on. And I guess, oh yes, Michael Keaton got an Emmy for his performance, and rightly so, because he damn well deserved it. He really, really, really did. That's a great poster, by the way. I really love that poster because that sums up the issue completely. Rosario Dawson in the show kind of plays a sort of, she's her character is based on about 4 different individuals, various people that went after Purdue Pharma and tried to take down the Sackler family. So she's a bit of a moral compass in the show. Great performance from Dawson. Again, one of the best, not maybe the best, but one of the best of her career. She's given quite a lot to get into. And like I said, all the actors in Dopesick, without a doubt, without any exceptions, all the lead cast are so good. The man I mentioned earlier who had the rather complex surname, Hugenhofer, second from the right here. This is one of the first big meaty roles that I've seen him in. He is very good in this, very, very good. And I'm just gonna name check him. Sorry, I hate naming people without being able to give their proper. That's Ray McKinnon, not David McKinnon earlier. John Hugenaker, I believe you pronounce it, plays one of the legal characters. He's second on the right in the poster there. I've not seen this actor in loads, but I have seen him before. He's fantastic in this. Really, really good. Ray McKinnon, who you may have seen from Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, also very good. You've got a number of other actors in the show who are not big names, who'd have a multitude of supporting roles. And there are some very, very good, I guess what I would call character actors in among that cast. I'm going to mention a few names. Arisha Connor, who plays Leah Turner, very good. Brendan Patrick Connor, who plays Howard Odell, very good. Philippa So plays Amber. Ian Unterman plays Jonathan Sackler. Andrea Frankel, who plays Beth Sackler, a woman I would love to see in prison. Not you, Andrea, Beth. These are all first-class actors in some of the smaller supporting roles. So props to the casting director. And again, we probably don't give casting directors enough credit because she really has done, I think it's, let me just check the credits on that. But they have done a fantastic job. Now, Danny Strong did create the show and did write it, and he also directed 2 episodes, but he wasn't the only person to direct the show. Barry Levinson, the great director Barry Levinson, directed 2 episodes himself as well. Patricia Riggin did 2, Michael Suester did 2, and then also Beth Macy, who I believe wrote the book, contributed towards the writing of the episodes, as did Benjamin Rubin, who was a writer on the team. Egan O'Donnell wrote an episode. Jessica Mecklenburg wrote an episode. So, there's a big team behind this. I give Danny Strong a big shout out earlier, but there's a big team behind this show. It's a huge cast as well. It's, you've got a lot of people in this show that are just on one episode. Yeah, I don't know if anyone in chat, by the way, has seen Dopesick. If you have, please say so in the chat. Tell me what you thought of it. Tell me what you would rate it out of 10 on IMDb. But as I said, if you missed it earlier, I rate Dopesick a 10. And I don't rate things 10 very easily. There's probably only 20 or so films and TV shows I've ever given a 10 out of 10 for on IMDb. This is one of them. It's incredibly well photographed by Checo Veresi. The casting is by Avi Kaufman. She's a extremely capable and well-known casting director, so it does not surprise me that the casting is so on point for this show. The production design is Neil Spacek. Series art direction Chris Cornwell, not to be confused with Chris, who I spoke to last night, Cornell. But these are all people that are at the top of their game. If you haven't seen it, remember this is a true story, and if anything, it probably underplays the absolute devastation that this opioid crisis caused in America. All 8 episodes available on Disney now. You can also get them on Hulu. It dropped last October, so almost a year ago. I highly recommend it. Probably one of the best drama true story shows you will ever see. Now, so that is about that's the first of the 2 shows we're going to discuss. I can't fault Dopesick. I can't fault it. And I strongly urge you to watch it. And if you're only going to watch one show of these 2, well, which should it be? Let's talk about the second one before I answer that question. So Netflix just dropped Painkiller, starring Matthew Broderick, of all people, in the same role played by Michael Schulberg in the previous film. Richard Sackler, the head of the Sackler family, the man who was in charge of Purdue Pharma, the man who made millions upon billions of pounds of other people's suffering. Uzo Aduba, great actress from Orange is the New Black, is also in the show. You've got a number of other very capable actors that you're going to recognize from other drama series and feature films, including Taylor Kish, Dina Shahibi, John Rothman, who's a character actor that's been around forever. These are, again, it's an ensemble cast, but it's a great cast. There's some people in it that I was not familiar with. West Duchovny, who may be David Duchovny's daughter from X-Files. I'm not sure if she is. This is a great debut for her. Anna Cruz Kane, Sam Anderson, all kind of play some of the other characters. These are good actors. It is a good cast. So the casting, again, in the second of the series that we're talking about tonight, Painkiller, is also very good. Now, these 2 shows take on exactly the same topic. They both take on the true story of the opioid crisis. They both portray several of the same characters. They both have similar composite characters, but there are some very marked differences between the 2 shows. First of all, every episode of Painkiller is opened with a person or persons stating that this show is based on a true story, but it contains elements of dramatization or scenes created for dramatic purposes, something like that. And then this person goes on to say, and elements of fiction. What is not fiction is that David, my son, Susan, my daughter, became addicted to Oxycontin. They died of a drugs overdose at the age of 23. And these are the real people who lost people in this epidemic, I think you can call it. It's still going on today. And that's heartbreaking. It's a very, very powerful opening. Every episode of Painkiller is directed by none other than Peter Berg. Peter Berg is an absolutely solid director. In fact, I generally know if I watch something directed by Peter Berg, I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get a very competent, usually straight narrative telling of a good story, often a good true story. He directed Lone Survivor. He did the oil rig disaster film, I forget the name, Deepwater Horizon. He also did the Boston bombings movie. I can't forget if that was Boston Strong or anyway, but and he's a really really good director. Yeah, Brogu, those are not, I mean, I haven't lost anyone to the opioid epidemic, but every episode of Painkiller, which we're now talking about, the second show on the subject tonight, does open with real people talking about the people they've lost. There's Matthew Broderick doing his Ferris Bueller's Day Off number almost again. Now, Broderick plays Richard Sackler, who, again, as I mentioned, was played by Michael Schulberg in the previous production. Very cold, manipulative, kind of an evil man, really, emotionally distant. His father, Arthur Sackler, dies at the beginning of the show, walking into a hospital, having a heart attack, and he's not treated quickly enough. But Arthur Sackler set up a big legacy for his family, collected art, made sure that various institutions and spaces in museums and things of this nature were named, like the Sackler Wing, the Sackler Room, this kind of thing. And it was very much about getting their name in places where people could see it and their family having that kind of level of respect and influence. But Purdue Pharma, which Richard Sackler and one of his brothers sort of inherited as was a fairly defunct pharmaceutical company. But Richard Sackler was quick to push through Oxycontin as the next pain relief drug, despite knowing its addictive qualities. Once people started getting addicted to it and there was a drug problem, it was all about putting the blame on the abuser, which is something that this 4-part, I think I want to say it was 4 parts, drama very much focuses on. It's an ensemble piece again, but this is not as big a cast as Dopesick, and it doesn't cover the length or depth of the crisis to the same degree that Dopesick does. The story opens with the character of Edie Flowers, who is played by Uzo Aduba, a fantastic actress I mentioned earlier, and she is one of the main people working on the legal team, trying to pursue who they can go after at Purdue Pharma to hold them legally responsible for the now hundreds of deaths that are occurring because of Oxycontin addiction all up and down North America. And of course, this spread to Europe as well. And in fact, 2 doctors were arrested and struck off in the UK, by the way, for prescribing this drug to patients online that they hadn't even seen. So I believe that Edie Flowers, that Uzo plays, is a composite character, again, kind of similar role to Rosario Dawson. You have a number of other big name, not so much big name actors, but well-respected actors in the industry doing the various supporting roles. But of course, the big name here is Matthew Broderick. How does he compare to Michael Schulberg's performance of the same character in Dopesick? Pretty good, slightly differently. A lot of focus on him having a pet dog and how the most human relationship that he had was with his dog and not with any other human being. And I liked that. That was very well done. What I didn't like about Painkiller was they gave quite a bit of screen time to Richard Sackler, Matthew Broderick's character, having flashbacks where he had conversations with his dead father. They weren't so much flashbacks. He was seeing his dead father in the present, and his dead father was telling him off for the various poor decisions he was making. And he was either ignoring his father's advice or chastising him, vice versa. They were in every episode, and it kind of got a bit like, yeah, but we know this guy's dead, and we can't actually say that Sackler really had these conversations with his dead father or even believe that he saw him. So I don't really understand the choice or the reasoning behind the choice for those scenes. Those scenes, to me, severely undermined that narrative of the show, and I found that for me, that alone put Painkiller 2 rungs below the ladder on which of these is better than Dopesick. Secondly, I think overall the cast of Dopesick is way better than the cast of Painkiller. It's not just the consistency of the performances. You just have bigger names, a more well-known cast, and people just going for it on the acting stakes. Also, most of the main characters of the ensemble of Dopesick, those characters all get an arc. They all get a beautiful arc. In this show, only 3 or 4 characters get an arc. Uzo to some degree, Taylor Kitsch's character, who unfortunately is a person who becomes a patient and becomes addicted, and we see the devastation that wreaks on his whole family. In Dopesick, we got a much wider sense of the narrative. We got more about the Sacklers getting their comeuppance in different ways, in terms of their name being tarnished, their name being removed from museums and institutions. In Painkiller, we don't really get that. We get a brief summary of what happened at the end, but we don't really get the visual comeuppance that you feel you need. You feel that the show has earned you when you've watched the whole thing. Painkiller is shorter. It's only 4 episodes. I don't know that it's better for that, because it covers some things that Dopesick doesn't cover, but not much. And there's a lot that Dopesick covers that Painkiller doesn't. I think overall, of the 2 shows, I think Dopesick is probably the more grounded. Like I said, I didn't like the surreal quality of some of the scenes in Painkiller, but the Painkiller show has a lot going for it. So if you're interested in the topic overall, and you fancy both shows, this is not me saying to you don't watch Painkiller. Painkiller is good. It's a good show. It's well made. It's well acted, with some outstanding performances, and for the most part, good writing. But Dopesick is at the top of its game. So I think just Dopesick just does it that bit better. But Painkiller has a lot going for it. It has a lot going for it. And I don't think Matthew Broderick's performance is the main reason to watch this show. Taylor Kitsch's performance is probably the best performance in the show, because he gets more to do. He has a bigger arc. Matthew Broderick's character is just a see you next Tuesday from the beginning. He remains a see you next Tuesday all the way through. And we don't really feel that there's much of a consequence for him, other than he's going to spend his life alone. He has a big, rich house that he lives in on his own without anybody else. And we don't get a sense of what's going to happen to him. We hear that they have to pay money. We hear the company shuts down and he resigns and all of this. But you don't really feel... You feel the impact on the Sacklers family more when you watch Dopesick. You don't really get that here to the same degree. You get it, but you know it's not as impactful. So not going to make this stream any longer than it needs to be. These are two great shows about the same topic. They both cover the topic in depth. Dopesick in more depth. And overall, I would give Painkiller probably 8 out of 10 on IMDb. Still a very good show. But, you know, not everybody wants to watch two shows about the opioid crisis. Some people don't even want to watch one. But if you're into your true story drama, you like good quality scripts, you like good quality writing and direction, you can't go wrong with either of these. But if you've only got time to watch one, watch Dopesick. It is one of the best television dramas I've ever seen, and I'm likely to see in my lifetime. Absolutely first class. And you really, really should see them. If you do watch them, come back and tell me what you think about them. I'd really like to hear your thoughts. Thanks for tuning in tonight for my impromptu stream. I'm back online tomorrow evening. I'm doing the next Lone Wolf adventure. I think it's going to be tomorrow evening, but I might be moving that. Because I've got a commitment tomorrow and I'm not sure what time it's going to finish. If you know Lorena Creole, who's a friend of mine, she has a stream starting soon. She's just reached 5,000 subscribers today. I don't know if it's started yet. No, I don't think it's started just yet. But it is streaming soon. It starts in 3 hours. She's live in 3 hours for her 5,000 followers. Thank you. So why not check that out? She's a lovely woman. Fantastic stream. Very much about life in Florida, the theme parks, and all of that kind of thing. Yes, David, I can give you a link to Lorena's stream. It is here. There we go. So that's Lorena's channel, live in 3 hours. Really, really lovely woman. Very, very supportive of my own work and efforts. She's on tonight. I also was on Retro Nerd Girls channel last night. Last night I was on Retro Nerd Girls channel, and I did a stream with her where we tried to fix the Terminator franchise. And I came up with what I would have done for Terminator 3. That was basically my my pitch for Terminator 3. So if you want to hear my script for Terminator 3, that is on Retro Nerd Girls channel. I'm trying to get the link for it, but I'm sorry, I've lost it. Can't say anything else really. But just Google Retro Nerd Girl. It will come up. She's a fantastic lady. She's had me on several times, and it's been a lot of fun. So do check that out. I did a great pitch for the third Terminator movie, the movie I would have made if I was making it. The movie I'd still like to see made, which eliminates all need for any other Terminator films that come after. It just keeps the whole thing 360. It honors everything from Terminator and Terminator 2. Brogu clearly was there. I thought your pitch was great. Thank you very much, Brogu. I was quite proud of that pitch. Guys, that's it from me. So I've got lots more coming up on the channel, but don't forget, this Tuesday, 9 o'clock. So around this time, because I think it's 9 o'clock. Yeah, it's 8:45 now. So wherever you are in the world, thank you, David, for the retro link there. Thank you. Wherever you are in the world, at this time on Tuesday, in 15 minutes' time, I will be interviewing stuntwoman Debbie Evans. You want to be on that stream. You want to be on there. She has been in everything. Look her up on IMDb. She's been in everything. The stream is already up on the channel. Deets are underneath it. Check it out. Get your questions ready. I will put as many questions to her as I can. Oh, Retro's here. So, Retro, I just gave you a shout out on the channel. and just said what a fantastic time I had on the stream last night. And I was just telling everybody to go and check out Lorenya's channel today for the 5,000 subscribers celebration. And then I also said, go and check out Retro Nerd Girl's channel. I think most people here are probably already subscribers. But if you're not a subscriber of Retro Nerd Girl's channel, she's got amazing in-depth reviews. She's done loads of the films that I want to do already. So you know, I'm trying to find films that she hasn't reviewed yet to do myself. But do come and join me on Tuesday, 9 o'clock for the Debbie Evans stream. I think I'm going to have a co-host on. It might be Matthew Holmes from Australia, film director. It might be Gary Bolter from Outcast Australia. We will see. But that's it from me, guys. So Dopesick and Painkiller on Disney and Netflix, respectively. 10 out of 10 from me for Dopesick, 8 out of 10 from me for Painkiller. If you're only going to watch one, watch Dopesick. I can't imagine anyone watching that series and not shedding a tear. Oh, David Macy, Inside Man, will be back with us. He'll be back with us next week. He might be on the Debbie Evans stream, but we are doing a top 5. I might share this with you quickly. So I was going, and now you've got me to stay again. We're doing a top 5 horror films from 1970 until 1990, and boy, is it proving difficult to choose those, let me tell you. So this stream is coming up, guys. You can take part again. You can take part just like in our Burt Reynolds. Once again, Wayne Byrne is going to be my guest on this. This is coming up on the 23rd of August. Look, Wayne's even put the date on there for me. So top 5 horror films. We're going to be talking about films we like in that era, and then we're going to be picking our top 5. And God, that's hard. Let me tell you, that is a hard ask. But I know what my number 1 is. I know what my number 1 is. I'm still trying to work out the 4 that come after. And Wayne has a great book about the Elm Street movies. It's out now. You can get that on Amazon. He'll be joining us, so you can put your questions to him as well, of course. So lots of great streams coming up with great guests and more to follow those. Thanks for popping in. Thanks to my regulars for popping in. Great to see Retro. It says, Outcast, my ears were ringing. Well, they clearly were. Do you have some sort of secret device set up that I'm unaware of? As soon as I mention your name on my stream, a light goes off in the Retro Batcave, perhaps. But look, so as I said, I don't want to label the point on this. Definitely check out those shows. Come and check out this stream. It's going to be amazing. But don't forget, Debbie Evans, 9 o'clock UK time, Tuesday as well. That's going to be a fantastic interview. 400 credits on IMDb. 400. That is a lot of movies. So that is a person with a lot of experience to share and a lot of stories to tell. I'll see you soon.